Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities in Miniatures, and today we have some celebrating to do because One Page Rules has officially begun rolling out their Beastman army. Now, I really dig One Page Rules stuff. Played their games for quite some time before they ever started releasing 3D models. This is a sample of one of their Beastmen, and you'll notice it's not a goat for once. Hooray! Do you remember the days when other kinds of animals got represented as beastmen? I certainly do, and know it seems like there's constantly non-human animal type folks on this channel, but that's because, it's fun and it's different. So I was happy to see this, and it looks like this army is going to be just as diverse as all of the other one-page rules armies. If you want to see any of the others, I've printed samples of quite a few of their armies at this point, and I have a bunch of videos, so you're welcome to check those out. But today we're going to talk about something very specific to the Beastmen army as I watch the camera cavort and shake and go crazy. Dude, what's up with that? Come on. I really don't get why it does that. Sit. There you go. Good boy. So, besides the basic infantry, one of the first things that they started to release were Centaur units. And I'm always a proponent of models with too many limbs. Now, the biggest thing for me is going to be trying to figure out how to actually paint these guys and base them. I'm thinking 40mm bases rounds are probably the safest bet, at least in terms of my type skirmish stuff. Not the largest. The actual Beastmen, I think, are a pretty good size in comparison to other models out there. I probably have some of the guys from Warhammer Underworlds, but I don't feel like digging them out. The Centaurs are a little bit more subdued. The Centaur boss, however, being an exception, but he's the boss, so he should be a little bit larger. Whee! Personally, I'm tempted to take them up to about 150% size, but the problem is he's got those skulls on his back. I would love to see them more, dragon ogre size, but that's personally just me. I like big dragon ogre monsters. Thankfully, One Page Rules already seems to have cut me off at that point and taken care of things, because not only do they have the basic infantry, we have cavalry infantry, but we also have a Titan. This is just the body. We have a massive Centaur Titan to go with everything. And I have absolutely no clue how I'm going to get around to painting this bad boy. He is an absolute monster. When your hand is the size of a Frostgrave, dude, we know you mean business. There are a couple of options, actually, in terms of what's going to be going on with his hands. Big old rhino feet. All clawed up and armored. One of his hands here. Now this hand is going to be holding the sword, if you want to call it a sword instead of just a big giant slab of metal that you're going to be smashing things with, but it is equally large and ridiculous. An equally large and ridiculous tail. Now, this is one of the first early prints that went up, and I'm noticing a couple of interesting things, is that the tail doesn't actually seem to have any connection point that matches up with his tail end there. But that's not something that's, a big deal breaker, and it's just easily solved with some super glue anyways. Of more interesting note is the fact that the connection point on the inside of the torso, the lower half, and the upper half don't really match up. That's an easy fix as well. Just trim that down, and then we're not going to have any problem. Everything else seems to work great. Here we have the head. I have no idea where the eyes are, and we have a little sword floating around. There's a couple of other bits and dangly parts that are supposed to be hanging off of the front of his armor, but to me it just looks like excess overkill, and I'm not really interested. It probably won't get glued on, but it's there for those of you that want to put it. So you can see that the head fits nice and snugly. I'm guessing somewhere underneath that? I have no idea where his eyes are. Does he even have eyes? Does he need eyes? Are they hidden underneath the bits of armor there? I don't know. So this is definitely going to be a big one. A lot of hollow parts. You need 4 legs, obviously. And then the other arm here. So with this giant, massive pile of pieces in front of us, I'm going to have my work cut out for me, and we're going to get it all glued together, or at least most of it, and see how things turn out. So I am eagerly excited to figure this out, and I'm hoping that while I'm doing this, you guys are starting to help postulate ideas on what kinds of colors we could paint this, because I'm really scratching my head, and I don't think that's going to be a big enough base. Let's find out. And as a reminder, before we get this video really rolling, just to give you a good size indicator, here is our regular Beastman Centaur, which is big enough. He is on a 50mm base right now, and a regular Beastman. And I got our big boy put together here. Funk. And he is nicely sized. I actually completely put his tail on the wrong way. I wasn't paying attention. Finally went back and looked at the renders, and yep, I had no idea what I was doing. That was embarrassing. But you could see he's just absolutely massive. And the best part was he actually fit completely on my Frozen Sonic Mini. I can't say that about all of the loyalty rewards that OPR have done. Some of them I have had to work on getting things scaled down, which is always a sad case, because if I'm going to be printing big, bad monstrosities, I want them all the way. I don't want to have to shrink, even if it's 5-10%. I know, and that's just me being silly and picky, but it is what it is. And sadly, as seems to be the case, every time I want to make a new video on one-page rules models, it's like a million more have come out in the interim between when I actually get it finally finished and when I have a chance to sit down and film it. We've had the Beastmen brutes all come out as well. Big tiger-like, saber-toothed cat-like, whatever kind of feline type model you wish to have them be. And I mean, these are really just... I love the fact that we have already, in such a short span of time, such a variety of model types to choose from. And there's more coming. That's the best part. Every time OPR put out a new army, they just like throw more stuff. So it's like, even if you're not going to use them in lieu of, you know, whatever, if you want to have them in as counts as stand-ins for other gaming systems, the fact that OPR just keeps churning out rules and new models, I love. And the variety. This is something that's always bugged me about Beastmen, is why are they always goats? Why can't we have something besides goats? So I was really happy about that. Here is a Beastman boss, looking like a boss, as he obviously is not going to want to stay on that base as is. Going to need some actual glue there. Looking forward to painting these guys. I have no idea. They're probably going to be in a boring yellowish fur. I don't want to paint tigers. I really don't. I suck at painting tigers. And I also have no idea, and I'll be honest, one of the reasons this video has taken so long is I wanted to get started on painting it, at least to get like a base coat or something, but I couldn't figure out what. I am really torn on how to do these guys, so I'm thinking I'm just going to go, you know, with a generic, boring gunmetal and then just agrax it up, dirty it up with maybe a brown skin tone underneath. I don't know, with some coppers and bronzes thrown in there. So sadly, there haven't been a lot of painted examples, and that, this is going to sound stupid, but this is totally true with me. The reason sometimes I take a long time between when these models release and when I finally get around to painting or working on them is I like get paralyzed trying to come up with how to paint them. It is so much nicer when there's like paint schemes already ready to go. And I gotta say, lately with OPR, they've had really nice painting tutorials on their Patreon page, which you guys obviously should check out those videos. Unlike me, I have no patience for actually watching anything. I like to look and read things, but that's just my own weird issue. But they started doing paper minis of, well, they've done paper minis of all of their releases so far anyways, but specifically of the Beastmen, and I thought that was like, oh, finally I can have a good look at them. So fingers crossed we're going to see a giant titan on there, and hopefully I can have that serve as some inspiration to get things going. But honestly, the single piece models, really solid. I've had no issues with printing them. I've had more issues fighting with having to get the individual bits put together, but that's a whole different story. The solid combined pose figures, phenomenal. No issues there. You'll notice I didn't put any of the other decorative bits on him. Honestly, I don't really think it needs it. I feel like it doesn't. I feel like he kind of just stands on his own. Let's get some other guys in here. So you can see our tiny little witch hunter friend here is definitely not one to be intimidated, but things are looking quite dire. So definitely a cool set of models, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else they've got coming. I know they have the legendary beasts that they're doing for all of their lineups, which was like a big saber-toothed monster cat thing on fire or something. And they've also got terrain now for all of their armies. So if you've got access to a printer for FDM stuff, if you want to chug that all out, there's definitely, I got to say, OPR have really consistently given the best bang for your buck month after month, or your pound or your euro or whatever money you choose to use. But I mean, you've got the rules, you've got the models, and they've got various armies at this point every month, and a nice robust welcome pack too. So I feel like I'm preaching to the converted at this point anyways, but you know, if you haven't checked it out, do so. I think there's some really cool stuff. And I'm thinking I'm going to have to embiggen the Centaurs. I feel like maybe like double the size. To me, that would be appropriate. He's already on a 50mm base though, so I don't know. Give me your thoughts down below. I love hearing what you guys think, because it gets my creative energies flowing through my brain, and otherwise sometimes they don't. So I would love to hear what you guys have to say and your input on how to get these things painted or where to go from here with them. So hopefully we will have some more in the very near future from OPR, because I know I've got plenty of other stuff that there's sitting here waiting to get filmed, and we're not going to mention that because it's embarrassing how long some of these other armies of theirs I've had sitting waiting for their moment in the spotlight. But when I saw this guy, he had to get done. But yeah, definitely we'll be having more one-page rule stuff in the near future. So we'll have a link to all of their various connected sites down below. Do take a look. The games are a lot of fun. They play fast. Everything is quick and concise, and they are a lot of fun. So, with that said, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we will see you back here soon. Bye-bye.